Kadosh Moker or Masechet Gittin Daf Kavchet Amud Aleph 28a1 says the Mishnah Mevi Get V'nicho Zaken O Chole. Imagine right now a person comes and he's going to bring a get. He's a shliach to bring a get, and he left the husband when the husband was old or sick. Notela becheskat shu kayam. He's still going to give it to her in the chazakah that she's still alive. What does that mean? That means basically the shliach does not have to suspect that the guy died. That means even though he left the husband and the husband's old, he doesn't have to do that. Okay. Then it says, Bat Yisrael and Nisua leKohen. What happens if she's a Bat Yisrael and she's married to a Kohen? And the husband goes to Mdinat Hayam. The same thing. Meaning, she's a Bat Yisrael, which means that she doesn't eat Truma. She's only eating Truma because she's married to a Kohen. She does not have to suspect that the husband dropped dead. He went to Mdinat Hayam, but she doesn't have to suspect that something happened to him. Okay? The last case of the Mishnah, if somebody sends his chatat from Mdinat Hayam to the Bet HaMikdash, so the Kohanim makrivin oto bechizkat shu kayam. Remember, a chatat shemetu be'alea, what happens? Right? You're not allowed to bring it. A chatat, that the owners died, you're not allowed to bring it, because only somebody that's alive, right, is allowed to do that. If not, you have to let it graze until it gets a blemish, and then but what happens, right? He says, however, over here, when we're talking about over here, we don't have to come and start saying that, is he alive? Is he dead? It goes to death. We have to come in, we have to kill it, basically, if the owners died. We don't have to do that. Okay? Fine. Says the Gemara. Amar Rava. Right? Rava comes and he says, Lo Shanu, when do we say that the husband that sends the get is still b'chizkat kayam, even though he's a zaken or chole? Ela zaken shelo igia ligvurot, v'chole sherov cholim lechayim. Meaning we're talking about a zaken that he's still not 80 years old. Remember, after 80 years old, that's it. He's gvurot. So as long as he's under 80, he could be a 78 years old and he sent over a get, we're not going to suspect that he died. But if it's going to be over 80, no. Or a chole. Which chole are we talking about? There's the majority of the cholim.
The Gemara defined the age of death.
Zaken v'chole sherov cholim lechayim. The majority of the people which are cholim, they will still live. He says, "Aval zaken shegiya legvurot v'chen goses." What happens if you already became a goses? So therefore, in such a case where you became a goses, sherov gosi lemita. Lo, we don't say that. Yeah, that we don't say. Okay, fine. Eight ve'Abaye. So Abaye comes and he asks the following question: Hamevi get v'nichot zaken afilu b'mea shana. What does that mean? That means if somebody's going to bring a get, right, and he left the guy that he's an elderly, even if he's 100 years old, he still gives it to him, right? The chizkat shu kayam. So that means, why are you telling me now that you put an age limit, right, until 80? Here it says even 100. Answers the Gemara, tiyufta. You're right. It's actually against Rabbi. There's a bright time of Fudash that says, afilu ad mea. Yeah, afilu ad mea. Even until 100, you could still give it. Or if you want, you could answer another answer, right? That don't say that it's actually going to be a tiyufta, right? Because usually tiyufta means that there's no answer. But here it's saying it's kilu tiyufta, then also be by tema. And he says, kevan di iflig. Once he already changed from the norm, so therefore I'm not going to suspect it. Which means if a person's already basically a 100-year-old man, I'm not going to suspect that, 1 second, now he's... If the guy was until the 80, listen, until then, right? Okay, until 80 is okay. Once 80 onwards, he could drop dead any minute. The second he's already 100. I'm not going to start suspecting that he's going to die tomorrow, right? Why? Because listen, the guy, he already went above and beyond all expectations. Yeah? So therefore, what happens? So therefore, we're not going to suspect that. So Rami le Abaye le Rabba. So asks Abaye to Rabba. Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah. Hamevi get, somebody that brings a get, and he left the husband when he was zaken o chole, so we said you could give it to her, and the chazakah that he's still alive. Meaning you don't have to go on the telephone and start calling him to make sure that the guy's still alive. Right? Urminu, we have a contradiction. If a person comes and he says, 1 second, this is your get, 1 moment before his death. Now, if he's a Kohen and the wife's not, what happens? Asura lechol bitruma miyad. She's not allowed to eat truma immediately. Immediately, that's it. She's not allowed to eat truma. Why? Every single moment we're going to suspect, maybe right now he's going to die. So it comes out that the Sha'ah Kodim, right? The Sha'ah Kodim was prohibited. So she's not allowed to eat. So Elmaleh, so Rava tells Abaye, Truma, a Gittin Karamit? Are you asking the question from Truma to Gittin? Truma, Efshar. Meaning Truma, you could tell a woman, you know what, don't eat Truma. But she could still eat anything else. Don't eat Truma. She's married to Kohen. But it could be that if he's going to die, right, 1 hour before, that's it. So therefore, don't eat Truma. You could tell that to a woman. Don't eat Truma. She could eat anything else. But get, lo efshar, it cannot have a get. Because if we're going to suspect to this, the shliach will never give a get. Because maybe he died, and therefore you're going to make all the women agunot. So says the Gemara, fine. The Rami, so we're going to ask Truma a Truma. We're going to ask Truma to Truma. Tznan was within the Mishnah, Bat Yisrael and Niswa LeKohen, Bat Yisrael they'll go married to a Kohen. Falach Bala Medinat Hayam, and her husband went to Medinat Hayam. Ochele bit Truma, she's allowed to eat Truma. Why? Because Gatshu Kayam, because he's still alive. Or Minu, we have a contradiction. What's the difference? Why is it that the husband, no, we're not talking about a get now. A husband comes and he tells his wife, my darling, I'm going away. Where? Business. I'll be away for 3 months. Yeah, he goes. He's allowed to go to Midat Hayam. She can continue eating Truma, no problem. Right? Why? I'm not going to suspect that he died. Nobody's going to suspect that he died. That's it. All of a sudden, he comes in the exact same case. Right? He comes and he tells her, he says, this is your get 1 hour before he dies. He gives it to her, immediately she's asura. What's going on? Why in the first case, we don't suspect that, we suspect that he's chai v'kayam. Right? That's what we, a common, chai v'kayam. In the second case, we suspect at any moment, and therefore that's it. What's going on? So Amar Ravada Bered Yitzchak says Ravada Bered Yitzchak, Shane Hatam, it's different over there. Shahare Asara Alav, Sha'achat Kodem Mitato. The difference is that over there, he prohibited her 1 hour before his death. And therefore, since, right, we do not know exactly when is that, every hour is a safek. So because of that, that's the difference. Meaning, if you're going to ask her right now, do you suspect that he died? The answer is no. Do you suspect that he dies? No. Why? A person has a cheskat chayim. Cheskat chay v'kayam. He's alive. But the second that you're going to come and you're going to say, no, it's 1 hour before death, we don't know when that hour is because we don't know when he's going to die. So therefore, if I'm going to suspect that he's going to die, I don't suspect that he's going to die. But if you're going to tell me it's an hour before his death and we don't know when he's going to die, now I'm going to have a problem. So asks on this, Matki Flag of Papa asks, whoever said that he's going to die first? Maybe she's going to die first. Doctor, who has a longer life expectancy? Men or women?
Woman.
What?
Woman.
Women have, even if I was going to. The Gemara asks, whoever said that he's going to die first, maybe she's going to die first. We don't know, right? So says the Gemara, Ela Amar Abaye, but rather Abaye says, Lakashi, that's not a question. Har Rabbi Meir, the Har Rabbi Yehuda. One of them is Rabbi Meir, the Lo Chai Shemitah, that he does not suspect for death. And one of them is Rabbi Yehuda, that he does suspect for death. Tetzram, as we learned to the Mishnah and Demai. Imagine right now you purchase wine from the Kutim. Now remember, the Kutim do not separate Trumot and Masrot. So it comes out that everything's considered Tevel. So what do you do? We already learned this Gemara, if you remember. Says according to Rabbi Meir, Omer Shne Lugin Shani Atil Lafrish. You remember what we said? We said it was Rabbi Meir, and there were the Chachamim that argued on Rabbi Meir. Why did the Chachamim argue on? It says over here why. He says if you're going to purchase the wine from the Goyim, from the Kutim, Omer, you're going to say Shne Lugin Shani Atil Lafrish. 2 lugin that I'm going to come and I'm going to separate from the 100 is going to be Truma Gdola. Asara, 10 of them are going to be Maaser Rishon. Tisha, 9 are going to be Maaser Sheni. Umechel, and then you're going to be Mechalel the Maaser, right, on the money that you have in your house. So it comes out, you already fixed the wine. Vishotem Yad, and you're allowed to drink immediately. These are the words of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Shimon Osrim, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yosef, and Shimon, they prohibit. And why? Because they suspect Shami Baka Hanod. Maybe it's going to break the barrel, and then it's going to come out that it's going to be a problem because then you didn't separate anything. So Rava comes and he says, so in order to understand, now 1 second, if you're going to come and you're going to say this, according to the B'mid, he's going to permit, he's not going to suspect that it's going to break. So it comes out that he's not going to suspect from Ita. Rabbi Yudah, that he says the barrel will break, he's going to suspect that maybe the guy will drop dead also. The guy will die. Says the Gemara, Rava comes and he says, 28b. Remember, we're on koach, of koach. This gives you koach to continue. Yeah, it gives you strength. Shema met lo chayshinan, shema yamut chayshinan. What does that mean? This is a very famous line that basically in the past, I don't suspect. But in the future, I do suspect. What does that mean? Shema met, maybe the guy died, I'm not going to suspect it. Why? Because the person has chizkat chaim. And since the person has chizkat chaim, I'm not going to suspect that he already died. So maybe he died, a person is giving over a get. He was a shliach of the husband. He left the husband behind. We don't have to call up the husband to make sure that the guy is still alive. Why don't we have to call up the husband to make sure that he's still alive? But at the end of the day, Shema met, I don't suspect that the guy's just going to die. That's chizkat chaim. But Shema yamut, but maybe a person's going to die in the future, that we do suspect. Why? Because everybody, right? Everyone goes to die. So therefore, right, that since at the end of the day, right, it's there's a whole question exactly what's the reasoning. Some people say it's like a chazakah shasuya lishtanot, right, which means it's a chazakah that it's going to change. And any chazakah that's going to change, it doesn't have such a strong chazakah. So here, everybody's going to die. They just don't know when. So because of that, Shema Yamut, Ken Chayshinan, we will come, right, and we will suspect. Elmaleh Ravada bar Matna le Rav. So says Ravada bar Matna to Rava, V'hanod Shema Yamutu uplige. Just 1 second. But when we're talking about the nod, which was basically the barrel, there it was Shema Yamut. Maybe it's going to break. So that's on the future, and you still see it's a machloke between Rabbi Meir, right, and Rabbi Yudah, Rabbi Yosef, and Rabbi Shimon. You understand? So you have three against one. So therefore, basically, what we're asking is that what are you telling me right now that there's going to be a difference between Shema Met and Shema Yamut? Over there, it's Shema Yamut, and still it's a machloke between them. So Amar of Yudam in the Sakarta says Yudam in the Sakarta, Shane, no, that's different. The barrel, that Rabbi Meir does not suspect that it's going to break. Why? Because you could give it to a shomer to make sure that it's not going to break. So therefore, right, that's the concept of the mitah. The shema yamut, you can't stop that. Meaning nobody could come. There's not even a doctor in the world that could come and say, you know what, I could give a guarantee that you could give it to a shomer. A shomer could probably stop a barrel from breaking. But for somebody to say that the guy's not going to die, it's very difficult to say that. So Matkif Rishashi asked the following question: Arvat tzari. He says what? Harev shelcha needs another arev, which means if you're going to suspect that maybe it's going to break the barrel, it's not going to help a shomer, because whoever said that the shomer is going to watch it properly. So for your arev, that's what he says. Arvach, your arev, your guarantor needs a guarantor, needs another guarantor, right? So therefore, again, you have a question, right, from the words of Rabbi Meir, that we're not going to suspect maybe it's going to break, even though it's something Shema Yamut in the future. Elamarava, but rather Rava says, Shema Met lo chashinan. Right, you're right. Shema Met, nobody suspects that maybe the guy already died. That I don't suspect. But Shema Yamut Tanaim. Maybe the guy's going to die in the future. That's actually going to be a machloka Tanaim. So Rabbi Meir says that we do not suspect Shema Yamut, and because he said that we're not going to suspect that maybe the barrel is going to break. And Rabbi Yudah and Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Shimon, they do suspect Shema Yamut. Okay? Fine. 2 dots. Asholech. Ma? Asholech hatato mimdinat hayam. The next case of the Mishnah was somebody that sends a chatat from Dinat hayam. So the Kohanim, they bring the chatat, right? Now, usually again, chatat shemetu be'alehan, ze olech lemita. It goes to death. Here, though, we don't have to take it to death. Why? There's a chazakah that the guy's still alive, and therefore I'm not going to suspect that the guy died. So ask the Gemara, V'abayina smicha. You need smicha. What smicha? You have to lean on the animal. A korban chatat, you have to lean on the animal. That's part of the chatat. And therefore, how do you do that if he's in Medinat Hayam? Answers the Gemara, Rav Yosef, be korban nashim. We're talking about a korban of a woman. And women do not need smicha. Rav Papa wants to answer another answer. Chatat ha'of. Right? We're talking about a chatat ha'of. And chatat ha'of, they don't do smicha. They only do smicha to a chatat behema, not to chatat ha'of. Remember, there's a difference between chatat ha'of and chatat behema. Chatat ha'of is the off, the birds, right? And chatat behema is the behema. So only by a behema do you do smicha. Says the Gemara, we need both answers. What do you mean we need both cases? Meaning get. If it's going to be talking about a get, that we're talking about that a person went and he sent a shliach to divorce his wife, there is mishum de lo efshar, because right lachshor shomita. Because if so, how is anybody going to send a get to a woman? Right? We're always going to suspect maybe you dropped dead. Aval truma de efshar, but truma you could just tell her don't eat truma, eat chulin, eat something else, right? So he says, Elmaleh, I would say that you're not going to say this. The Yeshvin and Truma, if it was only written by Truma, there's even in the law of Shabbat, because sometimes she can't go without eating Truma. For example, this woman has no parnasa, no, she only has Truma. So that she needs the Truma in order to eat. Aval chatat ha'of, but to do with chatat ha'of, shemisfeika lo le'ol chulin lazara, maybe misafek, you shouldn't bring chulin lazara. Right? Maybe the guy died. Right? So therefore, tzricha, that's why you need both cases to teach you that we're going to say that they're both lecheskat chaim, and that's why you needed both cases, also by truma and also by gittin. Okay. Delosha devarim. Amar Rabbi Elazar ben Perata lifnei chachamim. There are three things that Rabbi Elazar ben Perata said in front of the chachamim. Kimu devarav, and they actually agreed to his words. Al ir shikifu karkom. When you have a city that the oivim are coming, that the enemies are coming and they're doing a siege. You have a boat which is going to be being, taken away right nowadays by orcas, but in the olden days it was by the ruach se'ara, by the sea, right, by the torments, right, by all these storms. Or something that's being taken out on the nefashot, right? Shehen becheskat kayamin. That all these three key people, even the people of the city, or the people of the boat, or the people, the end of the day, they're cheskat kayamim. Why are they going to be? That means to do with the get and truma. They're still kayam. Aval ir shekevsha karkum. But once they actually came and they actually conquered them, or it actually sunk, or ayotze liareg, or something that's taking out to be killed. Meaning the first cases, it was only the start. Meaning they started a siege. Meaning that there was it was being taken one side to another, the boat, or whatever it is. And the third one, he's being judged on death penalty, but he wasn't actually. But the next case of the Mishnah was, no, all these things actually happened. Right? We're giving the chumrot of both. Right? What does it mean we're giving the chumrot of both? Mitzad echad, we're going to suspect that he's alive. Mitzad sheni, we're going to suspect that he's dead. So how does that work? Bat Yisrael a Kohen, if he's a Bat Yisrael to a Kohen, Bat Kohen Yisrael lo tucha b'truma, they're not allowed to eat truma. Which means in both of them, we're going to suspect now that they cannot eat truma, right? So that means why? Because the Bat Yisrael, which is married to a Kohen, I'm going to say maybe he already died, and if he doesn't have children, so he's going to be a surah to eating truma. Now the Bat Kohen, which is married to Yisrael, if the husband dies, she goes back to her father's house. Maybe he's still alive. So that's why the chumrah of the chayim, meaning we're placing the two chumrot on this woman, chumrah of chayim and chumrah of netiv. We don't just say, that's it, he's dead for sure. We put the shtei chumrot. Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Yosef, says of Yosef, Lo shanu, what are we dealing with? Ela bevedin shel Yisrael. We're talking about a bedin of Yisrael. What does that mean? That means because sometimes after the Gmardin, we find a zechut, and then we retract it, right? And therefore we're going to suspect, maybe he's not going to be killed. Aval bevedin shel ovdei kochavim, but in a bedin of ovdei kochavim, given the gmin ledina, lektala miktal, the second there's nigmar din gamarnu. That's it, right? That means they killed the person. Okay. And then he says like this, Elmaleh Abai comes and he says, Bedin shel ovdei kochavim nami to mekabel shochta. He says, no, you know what? Even by a bedin of the goyim, they're mekabel shochad. And since they're mekabel shochad, so therefore, you could give them shochad. So therefore, it's not going to be killed. So even if the fact that they were taking him, that he already had a tzak din to be killed, still not enough. You could pay them off. Gamarnu. All you need is 5 million nowadays, no? Or in the olden days, right? A few years ago. 5 million. Gamarnu. You do whatever you want, right? And you get away with murder. Amarle, so he comes and he says, when do they take the shochad? Only before the psak din. Levatar the michtam purse shenamag, but once after it's already signed, lo shakle. Meaning even by them, they do accept the shochad, but it would only be before. Because beforehand, it wasn't going to boom. After already that it's a psak din, it's much more difficult to, you have to cover yourself up so much more. It's very difficult to come and start receiving shochar. So Meitve, so they're going to come and they're going to ask the following question. Kol makom sheyamdu shnaim v'yomru. Anytime that you have two witnesses that are in front of a bedin and they say, Midimanu bish ploni shekmar dino bevet din shel ploni uploni ploni yedavar ezed yareg. Right? What does that mean? And when you have two witnesses coming to the bedin and they say, listen, right, we're testifying about this guy that he was already nigmar dino to be killed. This was his witnesses and he ran away. Harezed yareg. He's going to be killed. Right? What does that mean? This is an edut. Shekmar nigmar dino is going to be killed. Now, according to Rabbi Yosef, we're going to suspect that maybe they found him a zechut. So why do they kill him? One more time. Two witnesses come to the bedin and they say, Mr. X, he was nigmar dino bevetin ploni to be killed. And these were his witnesses, right? Mr. A and Mr. B. And then what happened? He dropped dead. Not dropped dead. He ran away. So the fact that he ran away, now they're in this bedin, now they're going to kill him. Well, why? According to Rabbi Yosef, maybe we're going to suspect, maybe Be'emet, right, that they found something. They found something to Zechut. And so the Gemara, Dilma Boreach Shani. No, it's different. He ran away. The fact that he ran away, we're not going to say that. Right? Why? Because if he knew that he had some form of Zechut, it's not going to be going around. Meaning you only become a fugitive, right, if you know that there's something wrong. You're not going to, why are you going to become a fugitive? Right? They can find a Zechut for you. So Tashama, we're going to try to bring.
It's a country like Japan.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
The story of Carlos Ghosn.
So Tashama, so we're going to try to bring another proof now. Shamam mi bedin shel Yisrael shayu omrim ish ploni met, or ish ploni ne'erag. What happens right now if somebody hears from the bedin of Israel that they were saying this person died or this person was killed in bedin? Yasiot ishto. So now they came, they testified. Now they could get the woman married, right? Why? Because this is an edut that her husband was killed. Listen, it was in a bedin, they heard this. But if they just heard mikamun sarasin shalavadukhovim, which these are the people like the carry out the death penalties. How do you call it in English? How do you call it in English? The people that carry out the death penalties.
Hangman.
The hangmen. So okay, thank you. The hangmen. Right? These are the people that are actually killing the actual people. Right? Ish ploni met or ish ploni nerag. Al yasit ishto. Don't get his wife married. My met was, what does it mean met? Umay nerag. What does it mean nerag here? If you're going to tell me mamash v'nerag nerag mamash, right? The kavate gabe rove kochavim mamay. So then 1 second. If it's the same thing, so then why by the goy you can't? Saying you heard by the goyim that this guy was killed or the guy dropped dead, right? Why can't you get her remarried? If you heard it from the Jews, then yes. So if as long as he's Mesiach Lepitum, you believe him. Meaning, as long as you don't, he doesn't know that you're relying upon him for halacha and just stam, right? You're doing that. So what's the problem then, right? So he comes and he says, "Elalav rather met means yotze lamut, and ne'erag means yotze la'areg." That's what it means. Meaning, when they went and they said, "This is the hangman coming and saying that," we're going to suspect that really be'emet. It doesn't mean that he actually died. They're taking him out to get killed. It doesn't mean, you understand, and all these. So it's not that it actually happened already. It's going to happen. And therefore we said, because by a betin shlisel, if they would say those words, it means that they already killed him, or it means that he already died. They wouldn't just say those words for nothing, right? But the bedin shugoyim will not, meaning the hangman himself, no. So says the Gemara, it's not true. Why? Le'olam really be'emet met mamash v'nerag mamash. Really be'emet is ud kamarta de kavata lagabe ud kovim mamayda. So then why are you not going to get married to the wife? He says that's only in something which is not kashur and nogeabo, and therefore we're not going to do that. Which means something which is kashur to him, right? So then we're not going to believe him. What does that mean? He's going to come, and this is the way that they come. They come and they say, we killed this guy. So many times they were sheket, even though they didn't actually see him. So to brag, to show off. I mean, these guys were saying it. These were the hangmen, like to show, I killed this guy, and I killed this, and I killed I don't know how many, and I did this, and I did that. And many times it had to do with them. So when do we say Masechet Gittin was believed? Only it has nothing to do with them. But the second that it has to do with them, you're not going to believe. That's only going to be in a betin. Aval kaftet amudal lefanato. Aval bedin shel Yisrael. Kevin the nafal din lektal echad. But by bedin shel Yisrael, exact opposite. We killed them. Because you remember, once it was the Nigmar din, we don't retract the Nigmar din. So Elmaleh Abai says bedin Yisrael nami If shad the chazul is you can find a zechut. It says no. Ki chazul is zechuta. When do you find a zechut? You commented only before the Gemar Din. But after the Gemar Din, they don't find the zechut, which means that after the Gemar Din, that's it. That means that was his mazal that he had to die, even though if they did find right the zechut. So lema mesayele, why don't we just come and we're going to try to bring a proof. The proof is that it says over here. Anytime the two people are going to come, they're going to say that you have that this was the Igmar Din and these are the Edin. He's going to be killed. So answers the Gemara, the same thing. Remember, this case he ran away. So since he ran away, we're not going to say that he had a zechut. So Tashema, we're going to try to bring another proof. If you heard by a bedin of Yisrael that says that this person died or this person was killed, see what you could get his wife married. But if it's going to be from the Kumar Sayashal, they're going to be from the hangman of the Goyim, that he says you can't get his wife remarried. My met my nerag. What does it mean that he died or he was killed? If you're going to tell me met mamash nerag mamash, if you're going to tell me that it was mamash that he died or he was killed, the kavataka which is the exact same mother of the Goyim. So why can't you get her married? Hakaimalan, we already passed him. Anything which is Mesiach of Tumah, you're going to believe him. Elalav rather met, which means yotzel lamut nerag yotzel arektan. Right? So by the bedin shel Yisrael, you do it. So that's exactly like Rav Yosef. So says the Gemara, no. Leolam, it's not a proof to Rav Yosef. Is met mamash v'neirag mamash. Why are you not going to believe them by the goyim? Usually you would believe them because Masechet Gittin. And so the Gemara, only if something has nothing to do with him. But to do something that's to do with him, they usually will lie because it's kilo to brag. And therefore, it's going to be a problem.